You are now live.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the City Council meeting. Today is Monday, July 7th, 2025. It's approximately 1 p.m. I'm Mayor Eric Enriquez. Before we start, I want to mention that we have the ASL, American Sign Language interpreters, available. And we will start with a moment of silence for the brave men and women of the United States Armed Forces as they protect our interests around the globe, as well as our courageous men and women of the Las Cruces Police and Las Cruces Fire Department. Councilor Corinne, if you lead us in the pledge. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll start with presentations. And we have anyone from the Sons of the American Revolution?
Seeing none, do you think I should read it, or should we save this for another week? Feels timely. Maybe we wait?
Yeah, we can go ahead and wait, and
okay.
When they're present.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Then that's it?
That's all we had? Okay, thank you. Next is Job of the Week, Sarah Rainey. Hello, Sarah.
Hello, sir. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sarah Rainey. I'm the one-stop coordinator for the Southwest region of America's Job Center, New Mexico. We have the jobs of the week for this week. Excuse me. We have an engineering technician for the city of Las Cruces, starting at $22.85 an hour. Right now, that one is a continuous posting. We have a customer service representative, 2, for the city as well, starting at $17.40 an hour, and that one closes next week. We have a court compliance secretary lead for Doña Ana County. That one starts at $16.73 an hour and closes on the 15th. That's next week as well. We have multiple positions for the Families and Youth Incorporated, various pay rates, various closings. They have quite a bit on their website and on our website. For NMSU, there's a lab technician for $15.45 an hour, and that position is open until filled. We also have a junior farm manager at Stallman's, the Desert Grove location. And then for our events, we've got quite a bit going on here in July. This week alone, we have Mountain Shadows that will be at our office on Alameda on Wednesday. They're going to be at our office actually monthly. They will be doing on-the-spot interviews and giving out information about their opportunities and services. Also on the 9th at the DACC Workforce Center on Nevada, we're going to have an employer roundtable. That one is actually hosted by the state. Our state secretary will be there to hear from employers, all of our local employers, business owners. Everyone is welcome to go and talk with everyone, with the workforce, to let us know your challenges and needs and everything that's impacting business, and you know what we can do to we can show you what we can do to help, and then the state can hear what we need to do to change, basically, and get better services out there. We also have, of course, our monthly Community of Hope Job Readiness. I can't talk today. On the 16th, and that one, of course, is for anybody that's needing extra job opportunities and employment services. As always, come over to the Alameda office at 226 Alameda, and you can find us on any of our social medias on Employee NM. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sarah. Next is Pets of the Week with Carol.
Good afternoon. I am Carol Nelson, Digital Content Specialist with the Animal Services Center of the Mesilla Valley. Just as a reminder, Dog and Cat of the Week, when they are promoted, they have no adoption fee associated for the week of promotion. This week we have Fresa, 80931 as our Dog of the Week. I'm a delightful pup on the hunt for my forever home. I've been a star at several offsite events where I showcase my exceptional behavior and love for adventure. I adore exploring the great outdoors on a leash, sniffing out new scents, and checking in with my human sidekick. I'm a pro at minimal pulling. I take treats like a lady and know how to sit and shake, making training a breeze. I'm affectionate and curious with people I meet, but I prefer a cat-free home to truly thrive. If you're searching for a loving companion who's ready to sprinkle joy into your life, I might just be the one for you. In this week's Cat of the Week, we have Ham, 92655. I'm one of the young cats here at the center. I've grown up in this place, so I'm still learning how to socialize with humans. I'm a curious little explorer, always wandering around and checking out new things. I love to have fun with my siblings. We're always getting into playful antics together. While I might be a bit unsure about affection at first, I do enjoy it when I give it a chance. I do prefer to be on the move rather than being held for too long. If you're looking for a curious companion who loves to explore and play, I might just be the perfect match for you. We also want to highlight some of our long-term residents who have been with us 3 months or more. They are always 25 if they have been at the center for 3 months or more. So Peppa is currently our longest resident for 337 days. She's been both at the shelter and with a foster. So she's a pretty good one to adopt because she's been getting more training. Macchiato has been with us 249 days. Rolly, 234, and Isley, 229. So they're also really good options if our pets of the week get adopted. This weekend, we are going to be at PetSmart on Friday. That should say Friday, July 11th, from 9 to 12. And then we will be at the Farmers Market on Saturday, the 12th. And as always, feel free to follow us on social media, or you can visit our website for more information. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Next is a conflict of interest. Does any member of City Council, City Manager, or any member of the city staff have any known conflict of interest with any item on the agenda?
None, Flores.
None.
None.
Okay, next we'll move to public participation. We'll start here on the left side in the front row. Allow up to 3 minutes, no pending litigation or items that are on the non-consent. And Katrina will usher you up to the podium.
Mayor, Council, all the folks here today and those watching online, I'm Lynn Moorer. Las Cruces Utilities activities regarding the lead and copper rule continue to worsen. The city has now manipulated and disappeared key records. It's like cooking the books. EPA says an online inventory is supposed to increase the public's confidence in and cooperation with the water system in finding and replacing lead pipes. The city's actions are having the opposite effect. A key problem with the city's online inventory has been its false characterization of pipes as non-lead, saying an installation date is after the lead ban when the installation date was actually prior to the lead ban in 1986. That has been an obvious falsehood on the online record for many properties in Las Cruces. Rather than correcting the record, Las Cruces Utilities has now manipulated it so that problematic information has been disappeared. The online inventory now no longer shows the service line installation date. Additional information has also been disappeared. The basis of the material classification, whether it's a sensitive population, whether it's a disadvantaged neighborhood, and whether the service line material was field verified. All that's gone now. You can see in handout 1 what the record for a property on Fairway Drive showed on March 22nd, on June 9th, and on June 17th. This is a property whose system-owned line the city said was non-lead based on an installation date after the lead ban, when the record shows the service line was installed in 1972, 14 years before the lead ban. This property is on the list of deficiencies I provided you on May 19th. Sometime between June 9th and June 17th, the city dealt with the problem by just disappearing the installation date and the basis of material classification. Every property similarly situated with an originally false characterization now no longer has an installation date in the record. All these obvious problems have been manipulated away. Also, for this property on Fairway Drive, the characterization of the system-owned portion of the service line has been mysteriously changed from non-lead other on June 9th to non-lead plastic on June 17th, with no basis provided. Handout 2 contains the record for a property on Mondale Loop captured on 4 different dates. On March 15th, the record indicates that both lines were non-lead plastic based on a field inspection. On March 18th, 3 days later, the record indicated the lines were non-lead plastic without stating any basis and also stating that the service line material was not field verified. The record on April 21st again states there was no field verification. Finally, the record on June 17th, which reflects the disappearing of the 5 categories of information, now says nothing at all about field verification. If you were considering buying this house but kept being confronted online with changing or disappearing information regarding lead pipes, you likely would consider this to be a fraud by the city against Las Cruces taxpayers. One cannot reasonably argue
Okay,
that
Ms. Moore,
these
your
are
time is
honest
up.
mistakes.
Ms. Moore,
This is intentional manipulation.
Ms.
This is
Moore.
dishonest. An independent engineer is needed because this
Ms.
is
Moore.
dishonest. This
Moore.
is dishonest.
And your time is up. Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity to speak. This is not a small matter. Thank you very much for your consideration.
Mayor, City Council, I'm Liz Rodriguez Johnson. EPA says that service line inventories required by the lead and copper rule are the foundation from which water systems take action to address lead service lines. They are key to getting lead lines replaced and protecting public health. I'm disturbed by what appears to be Las Cruces Utilities' manipulation of records for properties in the online inventory. Handout A indicates manipulation of dates other than statements for a property on Hillsdale Street. On March 22nd, the record declared both lines to be non-lead plastic but provided no basis. It also said that the service line material had not been field verified. By contrast, the record on June 9 said that a visual inspection took place at the water meter pit on December 19th, 3 months prior to the March 22nd record, which declared that no field verification had occurred. Then a record on June 17th for this property says, by contrast, that a visual inspection took place at the meter pit on December 18th, a day prior to the date stated in the June 9th record. All of these records can't be correct. So which record is to be believed? None of them? Handout B shows what appears to be manipulation of the online record for a property on Joy Lane. On March 22nd, the record stated that the entire service line was unknown. This is despite the fact that it also declared that both the system and the customer-owned lines are non-lead without providing any basis. Then on June 9th, the record changed and stated that the entire service line was non-lead, no longer being unknown. No basis is provided for this change. Then on June 17th, the record changed back and again stated that the entire service line is unknown. All this apparent manipulation wipes out confidence in the Las Cruces Utilities' integrity. There seems to be intentional disregard for the rules requirements. This also appears to be intentional disregard for the people of Las Cruces, including all the folks with low income the folks who live in the oldest parts of the city where lead pipes are the most likely to be, and all the folks who don't understand what's going on and what's at stake. Handout C shows 11 neighborhoods out of many that have been left out of the city's inventory. They don't appear to have any water hookups. Water hookups are designated with a green dot for non-lead, a yellow triangle for unknown, or a purple square for galvanized requiring replacement. If they don't show up on the map, these folks have been ignored by the city or forgotten, and this is just unacceptable. I do not understand the logic behind spending time and money to obscure an issue rather than to fix it, especially when the health of Las Cruces citizens is at stake here, particularly the health of citizens in the older parts of town where citizens do not or cannot afford to adequately stock drinkable water. Resolving this issue must start with the correct preparation and maintenance of this inventory. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Vernicek. I am reside in District 2. Mr. Matisse, how are you today, sir? My comments are directed mainly towards my representative. And
Sir,
also,
sir, excuse, could you raise the microphone up and speak directly
yes,
in there?
sir.
So we can-
No problem, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, my comments, sir, are for you, my representative, and also for you, our police chief. Sir, I'm just making you aware of our situation. First of all, Mr. Story, I want to compliment you on your officers are very professional. I do appreciate that about them. The pride that you guys have alongside your cars, they do exemplify that, and thank you for that. Sir, Mr. Matisse, I'm letting yourself and our police chief be aware of a situation. I live in the area between Espino and Solano and Missouri area and around University. And there has been a problem since I very first moved here, since 2012, of some vandalism. I just recently had my house vandalized, my car vandalized, it was keyed, well, my truck, it was keyed, attempted break-ins, not only of my house, but of my vehicles around me. My next door neighbor was broken into. The neighbor across the street, catty corner to me, was also broken into. You can find all this, sir, if you take a look in your records. And what I would like, sir, is something to be done about this, okay? There's also a lot of vagrancy. There's kids between the ages of between 14 and 19, all right, that have been going around the area a lot. And now I got a little, I tend to just ignore things unless I'm seeing somebody walking around in that area and they have a hoodie on. In this kind of weather, you don't wear a hoodie, okay? It's just been getting bad. I've had my pet stolen also. There's a lot of about between 8 or 2,000 and 2,300. There are vehicles that just zoom right up and down my street, right there on Gardner. Okay, they are not doing no 25 miles an hour. They're doing a lot faster, sir. There's disturbances in the middle of the night. Now, yes, I'm a little more aware of things that happen at night, considering I served 6 years in the United States Marine Corps and am a combat veteran that served my country with pride. Thank you, sir, for your time. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Have a good day.
Hello, City Council, Mayor, community of Las Cruces. My name is Liz Bennett. Chances are that the food you ate this weekend was planted, picked, transported, cooked, and served by the immigrant community. Chances are your home and office was constructed and maintained by the immigrant community. Chances are that the entertainment and hospitality you enjoyed while traveling was provided by the immigrant community. Chances are that some of the most precious in your neighborhood, children and the elderly, are cared for by the immigrant community. This community pay up to $100 billion in taxes each year, are less likely to commit crimes, and contribute to vast talent, heritage, innovation, and grit in our society. What we are witnessing by the federal government are acts of greed, hubris, and supremacy on a national scale. Talk of border invasions and dangerous criminals is meant to stoke fear and manufacture consent for the design and implementation of systems of subjugation that serve to produce forced labor for the ruling class. If you want to peek into one of the possible futures of this plan being enacted, you have to look no further than Florida's Alligator Alcatraz, a concentration camp built in 8 days by private companies who are paid millions in FEMA dollars. Located in the Everglades National Park, people are currently being held hostage in hurricane-prone marshes among alligator and python-infested waters. Under Florida's 287G program, led by ICE, local law enforcement are allowed to interrogate individuals and detain them at this facility. The bloated, bigoted budget signed into law this weekend allocates $45 billion for building new detention centers. This is a 265% increase in the ICE detention budget. Additionally, the budget includes $30 billion for ICE enforcement and deportation operations. The federal government is doubling down on investments in discrimination, incarceration, and slave labor. Is it enough to be cariñosos, friendly, and welcoming in the face of kidnapping, detention, torture, and death? We are here to call on all of our community to protect those we hold dear, those we depend on, and those that we value and cherish within our community. It's time to strengthen our city ordinances, commit our local law enforcement to protecting human rights, and fight for a statewide action like New Mexico House Bill 9, the Immigrant Safety Act. I want to implore all members of this council to take your role seriously in this moment, to act now and act courageously. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Lindley Hornsby, she, her pronouns, resident of District 4. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, along with the Department of Homeland Security, continue to terrorize communities across the U.S. In addition to Alligator Alcatraz, we have the Marines headed to Florida to assist ICE and Department of Homeland Security in disappearing community members. You know, I'm just thinking about what it might be like to be in your shoes right now when our federal government is raining terror on our country, and how it could feel powerless right now being a municipal leader. However, our community is trusting you to protect us, and we believe that you can do it, and that you can use your power and privilege within the positions that you have to continue to support our immigrant community. Here in New Mexico, dozens of community members have been disappeared by ICE, and I'm proud to say that here in the city of Las Cruces, we have resolutions to support our immigrant community. Resolution 18-075, a resolution reaffirming the City of Las Cruces' commitment to creating a quality of place to live and work through non-discrimination in all areas of city government and declaring the city a welcoming city. I really appreciate the non-discrimination clauses here in this resolution. And in addition, we have Resolution 22059, which is in support of a pathway to citizenship for New Mexico's immigrant families. So I really appreciate in advance the City of Las Cruces continuing to work hard to not only uphold these resolutions, but also to strengthen them and look at our practices and ensuring that we are abiding by them, especially during times of severe persecution led by our federal government. And as you all continue to fight back against the threats of fascism, knowing that your community is fighting alongside you and that the community may continue to practice civil disobedience, resisting the threats of fascism that we're seeing right now. And I really want to encourage the council to continue to honor civil disobedience and not intimidate organizers in the community away from pushing for the change that we so desperately need right now. To be continued. Thank you.
Good afternoon, City Council, Mayor. My name is Erin Quevedo. I live in District 2. I'm here to ask this council to improve City Resolution 18075, which was just mentioned, and General Order 166. The last time our immigrant relatives, friends, and neighbors were under as profound an attack as they are today, the City Council took action. In December of 2017, the City Council passed a resolution presented by the Las Cruces Police Chief Jaime Montoya and City Attorney Jennifer Vega Brown to, as it was stated, reaffirm Las Cruces' commitment to non-discrimination in all areas of city government and declaring us a welcoming community. The resolution affirmed the city's human rights ordinances and policies of the police department, which include General Order 165, requiring equitable and fair treatment of all individuals, and General Order 166, which says that the Las Cruces Police Department is not authorized to detain or arrest any person based on their nationality or ethnicity and prohibits LCPD from inquiring or seeking proof of a person's immigration status. The resolution also affirms that the city manager shall enact or bring forward for consideration any policy that furthers the purposes and intent of this resolution and upholds the city of Las Cruces as a welcoming community for immigrants. To that end, we ask that the city take the following steps. Amend General Order 166 to not allow for exceptions to city employees asking about a person's immigration status. Amend GO 166 to close loopholes for detaining a person based on suspicion alone. LCPD policy should instead be that no employee of the city shall arrest, detain, or prolong the detention of an individual for purposes of enforcing any federal immigration violation. And amend or affirm GO 166 to add that no city employee will aid or support ICE operations in the city. The Denver mayor has promised to take ICE to court if it targets people in sensitive locations, such as schools, churches, and hospitals. Mayor Enriquez can do the same. Proactively pass a resolution forbidding the use of Section 287G agreements, which deputize local officers to work with ICE. Ban ICE agents from wearing masks, wearing plain clothes, and using unmarked cars. These are tactics of terror and tactics of an authoritarian police state that hides from accountability. This needs to end. In the next legislative session, the City of Las Cruces can support with its lobbying resources critical human rights bills like 2025's HB 9, known as the Immigrant Safety Act. And finally, we should adopt a full sanctuary city status. For those who are willing to bow down to the grotesque, racist Trump administration threats to cut off federal funding from sanctuary cities, I'll remind you that increased terror and kidnapping people off our streets is what disrupts businesses and local economies. Also instructive here is that the 10th Amendment to our Constitution prevents the federal government from using these threats. Any coercive threats to force a local government into adopting federal programs or enforcing federal laws is prohibited under the 10th Amendment, namely any of these ever-shifting, always racist policies of the current president. Thank you.
Hello, City Council. I'm Lucas Herndon, resident of District 2. As we stand here today, the shadows of fear and uncertainty loom large over many of our neighborhoods, friends, and family members due to the aggressive actions of ICE and the militarization of police across our nation. It is in this context that we must reevaluate our city's stance on protecting the most vulnerable among us. While our existing resolution reaffirming our commitment to non-discrimination and welcoming immigrants has been a beacon of hope, the current climate demands that we go further. The Las Cruces Police Department's General Order 166, enacted on August 16, 2011, was a significant step towards ensuring that our law enforcement practices respect the rights of all individuals, regardless of their immigration status. However, a closer examination reveals that it still permits the disclosure of an individual's immigration status to ICE under certain circumstances. This loophole undermines the very essence of our commitment to be a welcoming community. It is imperative that we address this gap and ensure that our policies are robust and unequivocal in their protection of all residents. To truly be a sanctuary for those seeking safety and a better life, we must adopt a new resolution that categorically prohibits our local police from collaborating with ICE or any other federal immigration agency under any circumstances. The trust between our community and law enforcement is fragile, to say the least. It is no secret that many people, including myself, don't trust the police, even as people born in this country with relatives dating back before New Mexico was a state. New Mexico remains the most violent and dangerous state for citizens when it comes to being killed by police. Given this mistrust, it is clear that more must be done to make the Las Cruces community at large feel safer in regards to police overreach and power. The new resolution we propose must be clear and unwavering. Under no circumstances should our local police be involved in federal immigration enforcement. This means not only not sharing information, not detaining individuals based on immigration status, and not participating in ICE operations, but expanding the resolution to remove the word may from General Order 166.01, line C, and replace it with shall not. Furthermore, the new resolution should reinforce and expand upon the principles outlined in our existing policies. It should ensure that city employees are prohibited from inquiring about immigration status, that personal identifying information is safeguarded, and that access to non-public city areas by federal immigration agents is strictly limited. By adopting this new resolution, we will be sending a powerful message that Las Cruces is committed to being a safe haven for everyone, regardless of their immigration status. We will be reaffirming our values of justice, equality, and compassion. We will be protecting the dignity and rights of our residents and ensuring that our community remains a place where everyone can live without fear of persecution or discrimination. I urge you, Council, take this critical step. Draft and support a new resolution that goes further than our current one. Let us make it unequivocally clear that Las Cruces stands in solidarity with its undocumented community members. Let us ensure that our policies are a beacon of hope and safety for those who need it most. Together, we can make a difference and uphold the principles that make our community strong and resilient.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council. My name is Axel Hale, for the record. I have lived in Las Cruces my entire life, born here, continue to live here. And to have lived in this community is to see the impact that immigrants have had on our community. We live in Las Cruces, the city of the crosses. I don't consider myself to be particularly religious, but if you look at the scripture, it is fundamentally said to love thy neighbor. To care and protect our immigrants is to love thy neighbor. I currently reside over off El Camino Real, out near the fields and the orchards, and I see every day people out in the fields who work harder than some people I know working an entire year in that single morning. To see that, to see the culture that we have here in Las Cruces, the historic Mesilla district, these things that have fundamentally been created by Hispanic culture. We can't have these things and embrace them as part of our community without also acknowledging the fact of where they came from, the people who established them, the culture behind them, and the importance of that. I work for a church that has historically acted as a refuge center for immigrants. And to see this community and the way that immigrants have taken care of me personally and so many other people I know. And I call upon you and further implore the importance of what they are saying, that our immigrant community members need to be protected. And when the federal government is doing the exact opposite of that, when they are actively attacking the most vulnerable people, it falls to you, our local and state governments, to put these protections in place, to say, no, we are not going to allow that here. You guys have the power to do this, and I implore you to use it to make sure that these things are upheld here and furthered, to keep our entire community safe in the name of what Las Cruces really stands for. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Zach Egan. I am a resident in District 6, and I just want to thank you all for the opportunity to speak. I want to begin by expressing my gratitude for the City Council's leadership in adopting different resolutions which help to support and protect our community as an inclusive place to live. One of the things that Resolution 1875 has done is it helped to ensure that our local law enforcement remains focused on fair and unbiased policing. Policies like this help to build trust in our community and ensure that Las Cruces continues to be inclusive and fair. But we are currently at a pivotal moment in our nation's history. As federal pressures rise, there's increasing concern that police departments may be asked to assist with civil immigration enforcement, which erodes community trust and makes everyone less safe. People who fear deportation are less likely to report crimes or cooperate with law enforcement. And this is why I'm asking that the council expand the current resolution, or pass resolutions, or add new resolutions, or add amendments that make clear that Las Cruces Police will not support ICE operations. This expanded policy would strengthen public safety, protect vulnerable residents, and reaffirm our city's values. It would also include provisions such as barring ICE from sensitive locations like schools and hospitals, protecting confidentiality in city systems, and requiring public reporting on ICE-related activity. These are common sense protections that keep Las Cruces safe and united. Thank you for your continued leadership, and I urge you to support next steps in keeping us safe.
Hi there, my name is Rebecca Egan, and I'm a special education teacher at Hermosa Heights. I work with a ton of students and families, and one of the things that I love most about Las Cruces is when I can see that culture of support and trust within our community. One example of that is our walking school bus that our school hosts, where staff will join students and volunteers to walk those students to school, and that's where I know you, Mayor Enriquez, and that's such a beautiful thing to see. It's just so meaningful to see members of our political community involved with kind of the boots on the ground community. So I'd like to speak today on behalf of the students that I work with. Many of my students are immigrants, or they come from immigrant households. To give a little bit of context to where a lot of the parents come from in these situations, the information that they're reading and contextualizing our schools within. The LA Times reported that plainclothes Homeland Security investigation ICE officers went to 2 different schools in the Los Angeles area. They were reluctant to show their IDs. They lied about having parental authority to speak to these first graders, these second graders. They did not present the school with court orders or documents, and thankfully, the schools denied them entry and did not allow them access to those vulnerable students. to also contextualize what Homeland Security investigation usually does. They're usually conducting criminal probes into smuggling operations, drug trafficking, and other major transnational crimes, and I really don't see what place they have in the schools. And these are the ICE officers who are coming to our community and creating this culture of fear and threat among our student population. If you think that immigrant parents don't fear something like this within our community, again, you're wrong. Like, I'm not even an immigrant, and it's something in my mind, like, what'll I do whenever if ICE shows up at the school, asks to speak to one of my kids? Sorry. Without action by the city, we are in peril of trading our supportive community for one that is prioritizing fear and mistrust. Schools should not be places of fear. Homes should not be places of fear. The impacts that reckless ICE actions, are going to have, they ripple in the school systems, they ripple into families, they ripple into communities. From the angles that I can see, attendance is going to drop, and we're going to be setting up the next generation of thinkers and leaders, not only with a lack of education, but also with an expectation of fear and mistrust. This is not just about the students from immigrant households, as any damage to a student population is not an isolated event. It affects the entire student body. This is about what kind of people do we want to raise for the next generation. Do we want ones who trust others and believe in the goodness of others, or ones who frame the world as a place of fear? Thank you very much. I can see that you all love and care about your community. Thank you for attending the Walking School of Us. I know I don't get a chance to talk to you, but have a lovely day, and thank you for providing this platform.
Mayor, Council, Juan Garcia. White Rabbit is an iconic song of the 60s acid era. Uses imagery from Alice in Wonderland to illustrate the surreal effects of taking hallucinogenic drugs. And I quote, "One pill makes you larger, and one pill makes you small. And the ones that mother gives you don't do anything at all. So go ask Alice when she's 10 feet tall." End of quote. When I first heard this song, it made no sense. The song critiques adults who prioritize logic over imagination and urges questioning authority and societal norms. Fast forward to 2025, and instead of hearing the lyrics of a classic song, I'm bombarded by phrases like, and I quote, "Militarized border, democracy is dying, no kings, we live in a fascist nation, people will die in the streets after the reconciliation bill passes. We're in a constitutional crisis. Kidnaps are taking place in our streets. And of course, our favorite, concentration camps are being built for children. People even say it feels wrong to celebrate Independence Day, and I see the American flag flown upside down throughout the community. The whole atmosphere just feels surreal, just like in the song. There are efforts to normalize illegal, and I stress illegal, entry into this country, while anarchists riot, destroy property, and attack law enforcement under the guise of, quote, mostly peaceful protests. Some come to this podium and use made-up drama about rifles being pointed at seniors and kids, even though LCPD, in my opinion, simply had observers during the demonstrations at Johnson Park. I listen to our progressive friends call our local police murderers. They say it like these officers leave home, not to protect people, but to hunt down someone because of the color of their skin. This is a morbid attempt to undermine what law enforcement we have left, setting the stage for a community that ultimately embraces, quote, defund the police. A bus tour is celebrating women in sports, Title IX, was vandalized in Albuquerque in broad daylight as an attempt to silence through violence and intimidation. None of it makes sense to me because most progressives see nothing good in our nation today. Today, it's not about drugs fogging up people's minds. It's darker, anger, but mostly it's a raw, boiling hatred for one man and for anyone who dares to push back against the march towards a future that is hell-bent on tearing this great country apart, piece by piece. And I continue. When logic and proportion have fallen sloppy dead, And the white knight is talking backwards. And the red queen's off with her head. Remember what the Dormouse said, feed your head. Thank you.
Mayor, Council, Steve Coletti. Just a couple of weeks ago, I had the pleasure of standing in Constitutional Hall, the very room where that great document was debated and signed. I marveled what had happened there and the greatness of the men who had been there. Flawed men who disagreed on a lot of points. Many did not like many of the others in the room, but all had the best interests of the American people at heart, albeit with some flaws in their logic tainted by the times that they lived in, the most obvious being the issue of slavery, but all wanting to improve the way men were governed, and they wrote a document that allowed continued improvement. You Democrats were awfully upset when we took your slaves away. While in Philadelphia, I heard a comparison that I found quite interesting: the difference between good leaders and wannabe tyrants. The good leaders present solutions that allow the governed to accept, or not, of their own free will. The wannabe tyrants say, the apocalypse is coming, and we're allowed to do anything to forestall it, including control you. I'm here today to respond to the absolutely absurd comments made from the dais regards our attempt to have realized Las Cruces placed on the ballot. Some really absurd things came out of your mouths. I don't have time to address most of them, but I will address the most grievous. Inclusion has never been an American value, and it never will be. While certain a utopian charm that appeals to those on the left, those people haven't thought it all the way through. Inclusion is an impossibility. What has made America great for all these years is that we are big enough, bold enough, and I dare say great enough to house differing value systems and different idea systems under the American umbrella, while keeping our different values intact. The bottom line is, certain value systems will never mix. Inclusion is merely a word used by the progressive power elite, which means we're going to force our ideas on society by determining which values we deem acceptable and thereby included, and then by default, which value systems will be excluded. We on the right are not impressed with your goal of being inclusive. We believe in live and let live, but we're not going to give up our values to pander to someone else's feelings because they can't achieve their goals on their own. So no, I'm not interested in being inclusive. You may say that makes me a segregationist, then that is a badge that I will proudly wear because I stand on my values. Thank you.
My name is Sylvia Yancey. I wasn't planning on speaking today, and everything I can say I believe has been said better by my friends here today. I moved to Cruces in 2020, and I've grown to love it here. I've found strong community, great friends that I can rely on and who can rely on me. I'm terrified of what's happening in America today. We see people being kidnapped off the streets, away from their families and away from their communities. I'm terrified for my friends and even for myself and my family. Please continue to protect our community and do not give in to the threats made by the current Trump administration. I want to see our community thrive, and I'm sure y'all do too. Thank you.
Very tall. Hello, Council. I'm Reggie Dilf, a drag artist, also a local of Las Cruces from District 2. I wanted to echo what a few of my peers are requesting from you and the Council in regards to strengthening the existing policies, namely Resolution 22059, which is in support of a pathway to citizenship for New Mexico families, as well as Resolution 18075. where it states that the city of Las Cruces is a diverse, welcoming community and the city to all immigrants. Namely, I just hope that we are considering the values of what makes the city of Las Cruces as hospitable as we try to portray, especially our community and country being structured on the backs of immigrants. I want to ensure we protect those who are fighting to keep their rights and voices in this time like this. Being an immigrant is not a criminal offense on stolen land. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. Diane Starbuck for the record. I'm speaking with Animal Advocates for Change today. I would like to thank the City Council and the Mayor once again for passing the new animal ordinance. It is much appreciated. Now that breeding without a license is illegal, the city needs to inform the public of rules and regulations of the new ordinance. Education was one of the acknowledged necessities of having a new ordinance, and illegal breeding continues to be an issue. It is blatant on Facebook pages, specifically Animals of Las Cruces. People on this site have been told they're breaking the law, and they don't seem to care very much. Please uphold the intent of the new ordinance with education of the public and appropriate enforcement. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Jim Hurst. I like diversity and inclusion. I think that's what they meant. Our founders meant by the phrase "e pluribus unum," though many one. On June 14th of this year in Minnesota, John Hoffman and Melissa Hortman were attacked by an assailant with an inflated hatred for Democrats. The assailant shot John Hoffman 7 times and his wife 8 times. Fortunately, John Hoffman and his wife survived the attack. On the same day, Melissa Hortman and her husband were attacked by the same assailant. He murdered them both. 2 legislators, 2 spouses, and 2 murders. This was only 3 weeks ago. There's so much news these days that many events that deserve our attention fade into forgetfulness despite their significance. We recognize the sacrifices and risks taken by law enforcement and first responders. We also need to recognize our elected officials for their bravery. For the bravery it takes to be an elected public servant these days. I don't think our elected representatives desire adulation, but they do deserve respect. We must be conscious of their privacy and security, particularly concerning their children and spouses. It is inappropriate to discuss where elected officials live on social networks, even if you don't give their address. It's wrong to give general information that could be useful to an attacker. It is wrong to discuss their children or provide any information that might aid an assailant. We must be united in our vigilance to protect them and their families. We must be careful what we post on social networks. The golden rule applies here. If you were an elected official, would you want this information posted about you and your family? I know we can't agree on many things, but we must agree on this if we wish to have any kind of a democratic government. I also want to say a word about immigration. It is not illegal to seek asylum in the United States. Donald Trump has made asylum a dirty word by associating it with nuts. Asylum is a perfectly legitimate word for a country that has as one of its mottos, "Give me your huddled masses yearning to breathe free." That is what America stands for, what it stood for, and why there are 320 million people who want to live here. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council, Chief of Police. Tim Jenkins here. I come to you today as a citizen of Las Cruces. You know me, you know who I am. I don't have to cover my face with a mask to hide my identity as others do. It's outrageous to me to hear the disgusting rhetoric from certain individuals about our police department. Let's set the record straight here. There were no rifles or snipers ever being pointed at elderly people or children. That is only a tactic used by a certain demographic of people to spread fear and hate against our police department. The exact same individuals that came before you all screaming and yelling that the police department didn't do their job in a timely manner at the Young Park shooting are now the exact same people here mad and offended at the police department for being there to protect them from any trouble. You don't get to have it both ways. Our police force is in no way militarized, as some suggest. And I want to thank our police department for being actively present and at Friday's protest to keep the community safe, despite what some may say. The Las Cruces Police Department has done an outstanding job this year to gather the community, to bring together, to encourage, and to comfort, and to support this city in every effort to make it safer for all. As for me and my family, we stand with them, we support them, we back them, and we fight right alongside them. And it is highly offensive for certain individuals to come up here and actively degrade our police department to their faces. Our police department doesn't just order people. They are here to protect and to serve the community for the safety of all. And I personally have firsthand experience of this every single day with our police department. God bless and protect our officers and bring them home safely to their families and their loved ones.
Hi, my name is Dana Hopkins, and I live in District 4. And I wasn't planning to speak today, I came to observe. But I've now heard two people say that there were no police officers with rifles aimed at a crowd that was protesting, and I was there. And yes, there were. And I'm a community elder, and I was standing with children. So yes, there were rifles aimed at us. I could see them. I don't have this by anecdote or somebody else told me so. I could see them. I saw officers with rifles entering the library and later saw them on the balcony. Beyond that, thank you for your labor. My apologies for my phone going off and whatever that guy's t-shirt is behind me. My parade flag has a rainbow on it. Thank you.
Next is the acceptance of agenda.
Move to approve.
Second by Flores.
This is on the motion to accept the agenda as presented. Councillor McClure?
Yes.
Councillor Matisse?
Yes.
Councillor Graham is absent. Councillor Cran?
Yes.
Councillor Flores?
Yes.
Councillor Bencomo is absent, and Mayor.
Yes. Okay, we'll start with resolutions and ordinance for discussion. 7.1 is a public hearing, resolution number 26-004, a resolution approving the request for a restaurant, a beer and wine license on the premises of consumption at Jim Bob's Barbecue located at 8960 Zia Boulevard.
Move to approve. Oh, wait, is this the public comment? Sorry, take it back. Put it on.
Yeah, let me read the, so this is a public hearing is now open. The time is 2 p.m. Is there anyone here for or against the issuance of this liquor license? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. It's 2 p.m.
Move to approve.
Second by Flores.
Okay, go ahead, Adam.
Thank you, Mayor. Adam Ochoa, Community Development, for the record. What we have before you is a proposed liquor license for Jim Bob's Barbecue LLC located at 8960 Zia Boulevard, or better yet, the airport, if y'all know where that is. The application is for a Restaurant A, Type A beer and wine liquor license with on-premise consumption only. The Alcoholic Beverage Control Division of the state did send preliminary approval to the city on May 2nd of this year. We did request an extension for the hearing in order to hold the public hearing today. All reviewing staff saw no issues with the proposed application. Give a better idea, here is the airport, there is Zia Boulevard there, and Jim Bob's is right here in what is Suite A of 8960 Zia. So your options, 1 to vote yes and vote to approve the proposed liquor license, and 2 to vote no and deny. The Alcoholic Beverage Control Agency will be notified of the vote and will continue the application process. That is the conclusion of my presentation, and I stand for questions.
Thank you, Adam. Any questions by council? Seeing none. Christine?
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 26-004. Councilor McClure?
Yes.
Councilor Matisse? Councilor Graham is absent. Councilor Coran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Next is resolution number 26-005. Resolution approving amendments of the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Las Cruces and the Las Cruces Police Officers Association.
Move to approve.
Second by Flores.
All right, Jose.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council members. My name is Jose Vargas. I'm the Assistant Director of Human Resources here at the City of Las Cruces. And today I'll be presenting to you the resolution for the Police Collective Bargaining Agreement reopener. So before we get into the resolution itself, I'll give you guys a couple of bullets for background. City Council approved the collective bargaining agreement back on October 3rd, 2022, and the current agreement runs through October 3rd, 2025. Section 16 of this agreement allows for either party to come forward with a non-economic section and an economic section to renegotiate, and the union did come forward with that. So negotiations began on October 3rd, 2024, and negotiations concluded on May 6th, 2025. The two sections that were selected for reopening was Section 36, Professional Standards for the non-economic, and Section 22, Holidays for the economic. So Section 36, Professional Standards, the verbiage that was added was essentially to clarify who could participate in these types of investigations. So the verbiage that was added reads, investigations shall be conducted by LCPD Internal Affairs investigators or a designated supervisor. Outside observers during the interrogations may include Las Cruces Police Officers Association, fraternal order police representatives, or others allowed by the New Mexico Peace Officers Employer-Employee Relations 29-14-4, or as revised. For the economic section, 22 holidays, the changes that were made to that section was employees would receive 20 hours of personal leave per calendar year. As it currently stands, represented individuals receive 16 hours of personal leave per calendar year. A couple of other changes would be employees could cash in any remaining personal leave balances at the end of the year. That'll be paid with the last pay period of the year, up to 80 hours at a ratio of 4 to 1. And the same would apply for employees who retire completing at least 50% or more of the year. They would also have the option to cash in any remaining personal leave balances at the same ratio of 4 to 1. So with that said, I'll give you your council options, but I do have to leave you with a disclaimer. There does an amendment need to be made to the resolution. There is a current typo as it stands. The typo is there's 40 hours of personal leave written in the resolution, and it should be 80 hours. Okay, and with that said, I'll stand for any questions.
Any questions by
Yes,
Councilor Flores?
Thank you for your presentation. So why would you have 40 hours when anyway? So we'll just accept it verbally from you, and you all know it covers the 80 hours. No, well, where's our, city clerk? How do we, if there's a mistake, a typo, we have to do an amendment. So we'll do it when, how? Is it for me to propose? I have a question, so. Oh, you have a question? Well, after she has her no. So we need an amendment on that. Correct. But I just want to say that, because the 40 hours leave is insufficient for members of the RLA LCPD. I shared this before where I attended a symposium, for lack of a better word, for all county, local police enforcement. And it was over a period of a day or 2 or maybe 3 days. But, and I sat through that and heard the author of a book whose name I don't remember, and I don't remember the book, I'm sorry. But my point here isn't for you all to go out and buy that book and read it, but my point is, believe me when I tell you that police officers don't have it easy at all. And I've met some police officers, not necessarily here, who, one of them is a nephew of mine who was a police officer, LAPD, and he left. He said, I'll never become a police officer again, and he went to law school. But I just want to say that I want to thank the LCPD for their efforts, for their work. They were, when my mother died, she died at home, so they were in the house, and because it was, I don't know, a crime scene or under investigation. But and then the other person who stood there the whole night was Chief Enriquez, because Shannon Reynolds called him. At any rate, I know that I grew up in the '60s and the '70s, and everything was anti-cops. We called them pigs, and my father was appalled. So, but I just have to say that in spite of everything, when something happens in your home or to one of your children or something at school, who do you call? The person who was, perhaps demonstrating against something? No, you call the police officer or the police department. So thank you for your presentation. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you. I don't think I'd met you before. Nice to meet you.
No, I don't think we've met.
Is this your first presentation?
It is,
Good
actually,
job.
yes.
Okay, wonderful. Just on the, so we obviously have 3 collective bargaining agreements, right? With
Correct.
police, fire, and the blue collar union. On the issue of holiday pay and things like that, how do we maintain like uniformity across, you know, the city structure? Is sort of everyone has to negotiate themselves, and then what happens for
Correct.
represented members of the city?
Right. So for negotiated contracts, that's part of the negotiation process. Each one would have their own negotiating procedures to determine what it is they want to negotiate and how they want to go about that. And then for unrepresented, it would be city management that would make that determination.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And, oh, sorry, my
Councilor
question
Carr.
is sort of in follow-up to that, and just sort of clarifying. There are 3 different types of leave, correct?
Correct. There are.
And this is one type that is not vacation or sick leave, right?
Correct. Yes. This is
Okay.
the
So
third type. Personal
I just
leave.
wanted to clarify. It sounded like that's not, Councilor Flores, just so you know, they have other leave as well. So this isn't the only leave that they're. No, I don't disagree. I just wanted to say, like, there are other types of leave that that are not part of this conversation right now. And I think the city unrepresented folks at 16 hours. So this is a change from that to that.
Correct.
So I just wanted to clarify to make sure that I understood which type of leave it is. And then for clarification, we have to change both the preamble to the resolution and the actual resolution. Are there 2 edits that we have to make, or can we just change it on the actual resolution document? If I say I move to change both the resolution 26005 and the action form to reflect 80 rather than 40. Can I say that I move that, and you can massage it into whatever it looks like?
Councilor Coran, we can just change the body of the resolution itself, since that's what you're approving, and then the other would just be an administrative.
Yeah, I just want to hold off so we can see if there's any members of
okay,
the
sorry.
union that want to speak, or members of the public, or councilors. Anyone else? Councilman McClure.
Just a quick question. On page 4, just for clarification, there was, let me just look at it again, if you can go back to it. So what are the others allowed by New Mexico peace officers on point? Can you give me a couple of examples? I don't know if OIR falls into that or anything like that, but I'm just curious what that, and maybe this is a Chief Story question. Whoever would like to answer that.
Yeah, I'll actually defer that question over to the chief.
Just say chocolate too. Mayor, Councilor McClure, the Peace Officer Employer Relations Act is obviously state statute, and it sets kind of the parameters where you can interrogate an officer, what times, how many people could be present for how long. And so it doesn't necessarily restrict who can be in there, although it does restrict the number of people that can be in the room, things like that. So I don't know if that answers your question, but that statute would give you more information on everything that's contained in that statute.
That's helpful. Thank you.
Okay. Any members of the union that would like to speak? Come on up.
Good afternoon, Mayor, council members. I'm David Udero. I'm the current union president for LCPD. With this, we looked into it because of the mental health aspect for officers. A lot of agencies around the state are doing similar mental health things to help officers keep them in this kind of situations. Like Bernalillo County is actually giving officers every day 2 hours for mental health or physical fitness, something to keep them going. We looked at this as a beneficial for officers, that they could have the 2 weeks off to just recuperate and get their mind back from the struggles that we go through. And this is what we looked at for now for this small negotiations, because we actually have the big negotiation coming up for the big contract that we'll be coming up with that I would like to get with all of you guys, if you guys ever have a chance to, from here till then, so that we could discuss some of the other changes that we're looking into, especially for the benefit of officers. I grew up in this city. I'm from this city. I grew up in the bad parts of the city. Changed the way I was. I could say that I'm the juvenile that we want, the one that got the second chance. I got the second chance. I decided to serve my country. After I served my country, I came back to give back to my city. They gave me that second chance. And with everything that we're looking at with our city, I want to get back to our department. And this is why I took this position, is because we're struggling to keep officers here. And there's not really anything now that is drawing people to our city to become law enforcement officers. And that's what I would like to change, to give them that benefit and give them an opportunity to come to our city so that we can thrive together, not just the police department, but our city as one. All right, everything that's gone on in the past or this year alone is showing us that we're going in the wrong direction. And I think that if we were to come together for this next negotiation, we could draw more officers to our city and we could prosper better in that situation.
All right, thank you. Appreciate you. Go ahead.
Thank you. Just because Officer brought up the sort of big negotiations, can you remind us when those will begin and some of the parameters around that?
Yeah, so for the full contract itself, we're now in the time period where either party can request to open up those negotiations because the contract does expire on October 3rd of this year. So we're now within that time period to begin that.
Okay, thank you. And I just wanted to remind all of us that once those are open, we're not able to talk to union representatives about the contract.
That is correct.
Yes, thank you.
Any members of the public that would like to speak? I'll give you 2 minutes. Come on up.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Council. My name is Lucas Herndon. For the record, this is from the City of Las Cruces website, specifically on Elevate Las Cruces. The city's comprehensive plan is an overarching policy document serving as guide for the future growth and development of our community. The current comprehensive plan, Elevate Las Cruces, was unanimously approved by City Council on February 18th, 2020. The Elevate Las Cruces comprehensive plan is our community's unified policy guide and action plan for enhancing Las Cruces' long-time prosperity and happiness by building a city that is environmentally, fiscally, and socially sustainable. From today's agenda item that you're addressing, under support information, committee board review, does this amend the budget? Does this action amend capital improvement? There is a section that says, does this action align with Elevate Las Cruces? I would like the record to reflect that the box is marked, no, it does not.
For a motion? Yeah, if we could have the amendment and a motion.
I move to amend the resolution to change 40 hours to 80 hours, which is in line. I had it, now I lost it. Where it is in that document. Thank you.
Second.
This is on the motion to amend Resolution 26-005 to change the 40 hours to 80 hours. Councilor McClure?
Yes.
Councilor Matisse?
Yes.
Councilor Graham is absent. Councilor Cran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
And then this is on the motion to approve Resolution 26-005 as amended. Councilor McClure?
Yes.
Councilor Matisse?
Yes.
Councilor Graham is absent. Councilor Cran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jose. Next is 7.3, resolution number 26-006, a resolution authorizing the city of Las Cruces to accept grant awards for various departments.
Bring it forward. Move to approve.
Second?
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Mayor, councilors, city staff, community members. My name is Gabriela Prats. I'm the city's grant manager, and I bring before you today 3 grants awarded to the police department. The funds that are provided by these 3 grants support personnel time, benefits, and materials to accomplish the department's mission to provide community-focused public safety and law enforcement to area residents, businesses, and visitors so that they can live and thrive in a safe, peaceful environment. The first award is from the Office of National Drug Policy in partnership with New Mexico HIDA. HIDA stands for High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area, which our region is. The award is of approximately $807,000, and this particular one modifies the award for last fiscal year in '25. It adds $24,117 to cover expenses incurred by the city to support HIDA operations in the region. So this modifies and will close last year's award. The next one is this year's award. It's federal fiscal year 2025 grant award from the Office of National Drug Control Policy. It is in the amount of $683,637. It funds staff salaries and benefits, facilities rental, equipment, supplies, and administrative costs to support HIDA initiatives in our region. The third grant is something that the police department does every year in conjunction with New Mexico State University, Las Cruces Public Schools, and its students. They provide Youth Leadership Academy sessions, and this is designed to foster and maintain these lasting relationships between the police department and MSU, Las Cruces Public Schools, and its students. Here are your standard council options, and I stand for questions.
All right, thank you, Gabby. Any questions? Seeing none. Christine?
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 26-006. Counselor McClure?
Yes.
Counselor Matisse?
Yes.
Counselor Graham is absent. Counselor Cran?
Yes.
Counselor Flores?
Yes.
Counselor Bencomo?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Next is 7.4, resolution number 26-007, resolution amending the capital improvement program.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, Cynthia.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council. My name is Cynthia Lamillo, CIP Manager, and today I have a couple of CIP amendments for you. We have 3 types of amendments. First, we have those projects that recently received grants that were approved at the June City Council meeting. We have a project that's receiving funding and a newly funded project. First, at the last June City Council meeting, 3 grants were accepted for the University Multi-Use Trail Loop, the Bike Park, and the East Mesa Roads and Drainage. I want to point out that the University Multi-Use Trail Loop, the grant itself was for $412,000, but we have an internal adjustment of $68,000. That's why we're reflecting it in this PowerPoint presentation, but the net balance for that project goes to the $987,000. Bike Park has $2 million, and East Mesa Roads and Drainage, $4,369,000. These are 3 projects that are receiving additional funding, and they're all from the roof program. So we have Mershide, Municipal Court, and Railroad. Mershide and Municipal Court, the projects are underway, and we are adjusting the funding that they have available as we have received the quotes, and we know how much the project will be. The Railroad Museum re-roof, the project has been completed, and we have just added additional funds of $9,000 just to complete the payments of that project. So we see the net balance for those 3 roof projects. Lastly, this is our newly funded project, which means that this is a new project for the CAP, which is the Fire Station 4 remodel, and we're giving funds for the project in itself. I would like to pass on to DC Soucy so he can give us more details on this newly funded project.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. So this is funding for a bathroom remodel. So you can kind of see here the bathroom's taken down mostly to the studs. We got here by finding a leak in one of the showers a few months ago. The leak was too big for facilities to handle. It was one of those that turned into kind of a small project, and we hired a construction company to come fix that. What they deemed was a shower pan leak in the men's bathroom. Once they started to demolish and open up that shower pan, they found mold probably within an hour of opening it up. They stopped work, called an abatement company, and did a mold test. So they confirmed mold, and then they started to abate that mold, and that's how we got here. It was a small little shower pan that were found mold, and once they started pulling the walls out, that's how far they got. They got all the way into the women's bathroom. The women's bathroom is the one on my left. It's pretty much completely taken apart. The men's bathroom, the entire shower is removed. There was 3 showers in there on the right-hand side. So we're looking to get this bathroom remodeled and get everything kind of up to code. Right now, we're not in ADA compliance with this bathroom. So we were working with architects and the construction company to get a floor plan that's going to be ADA compliant and kind of bring this bathroom into this century, basically. So that's what we're doing. You have any questions?
Go ahead, Councilor Flores.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you. So does a remodeling, the amount now will probably go up once you get someone in there to do the ADA adjustments? Will you be needing, yeah? Or does that cover? Is it projected to cover?
We're anticipating this will cover it.
Okay.
That's the anticipation. We have a design that was just sent over this morning.
Uh-huh.
We were getting the fire chief to look at it and see if everybody's good with it, and then we'll get a quote from the construction company on kind of how much they would cost to get this work done.
And with the money allocated at this point, we'll take care of that, or that's your belief? Your
That's
projection?
the anticipation, yes.
Or are you praying for that?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilor Corinne.
Thank you. Thanks for the presentation. I just want to sort of mention that we have an upcoming conversation about what we're going to spend our capital infrastructure money on, and I would really like us to be proactive and make sure that our fire stations are better than livable. I mean, obviously mold means not livable, I think. So this is an example of this, but I think we've seen roof, we've seen cooling, we've seen a horror show of pictures, frankly. Not that I'm holding you to account to that. I think I'm holding us to account, and I'm asking that I hope part of our conversation about the infrastructure can be about capital investments in fire station living quarters, because I really don't want to see these pictures and hear tales of mold or, I don't know, tetanus, whatever else I think you guys have been facing. I would like us to prioritize that in that conversation that we have coming up in August. So I just want to speak to that again, please come and ask, make sure, we would like to make sure that things are happening, so if you have more pictures, bring them, I guess, but I would like us to not have these pictures moving forward. If we can really be proactive in that way, I would appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Corrin. I couldn't agree more. I'm obviously glad you're here, BC, again, to talk about this. I think it's really important. I couldn't agree with you more about the GRT conversation, and when we talk about public safety, that has to include the living quarters for one of our public safety agencies, right? We've obviously seen this. I've seen leaky roofs during the rainy days we've had recently. Like, that's just really, and I don't know specifically at what station. It's my understanding that during this renovation, folks are using maybe some portable bathrooms.
It's an external shower thing.
That's unacceptable, right? When we talk about mental health and when we talk about caring for our folks, I think the infrastructure has to be a priority. And I hate to ask this question, but I'm wondering if you are now nervous finding mold at Station 4, that there's a potential for other stations to have similar issues. Some of the older ones anyway.
Maybe, but the other stations have had some remodels done that are
Okay.
not that old. This one is one that, I don't want to say slipped through the cracks, but this is probably our worst station. So I wouldn't be, I'm not thinking we're going to find it at the other stations to the extent that we found it here. It doesn't look like it.
Yeah, thank you. Obviously, one of the big priorities has been new fire stations, especially ones to serve members of the public that haven't had that service quite yet, right? And to ensure that our response times stay good and all of that. And I just think, yes, new stations are important, but we must take care of our current infrastructure for sure. Thank you.
And while I'm up here, I would like to say that Public Works and Facilities has been great. Since we've been finding these problems and working through them, it's been moving along very fast with their help. So, any more questions?
Any other? No? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Christine?
This is on the motion to approve.
I'm sorry, wait. No, you weren't finished. I'm sorry.
But you're on the right track. Cynthia Lamillo.
No, I appreciate everybody seeing it. I actually lived it, so I know. I don't have to make comments just vote yes. No, I can't say that, but okay, finish the presentation. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you to BC Saucy. As we have been doing in the past, we're trying to bring in more departments to showcase their projects so we can have a better understanding of the city's capital investments. So with that, Mayor and City Council, we have your council options for this amendment.
Go ahead, Christine.
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 26-007. Councilor McClure?
Yes.
Councilor Matisse?
Yes.
Councilor Graham is absent. Councilor Coran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Thank you, Cynthia. Next is 7.5, resolution number 26-008, resolution amending the boundary of the El Paseo and South Solano MRA.
Can we consider these two things
Yes.
together?
Yes.
Yes, but we need a motion
To
first for this one, and then we'll do a motion to suspend the rules.
Okay, move to approve.
Second.
Okay. Now we need a motion to suspend the rules to discuss both resolutions concurrently, which is Resolution 26-09, a resolution approving the El Paseo and South Solano MRAs as well.
So moved by Flores.
Second.
So this is on the motion to suspend the rules to listen to both resolutions concurrently. Councilor McClure?
Yes.
Councilor Matisse?
Yes.
Councilor Graham is absent. Councilor Coran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Okay.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. For the record, I'm Blair Flores with Economic Development Department. Joining me today is Ali Caskey from Site Southwest, who will be presenting virtually. We're here to revisit the El Paseo and Solano MRA plan, which we had previously presented during the June 23rd City Council work session. I'd like to provide a brief recap of the plan's key components. These are the original boundaries of the El Paseo and Solano MRA, which were established in the MRA designation report back in March of 2023. One of the recommendations in the plan is to expand the MRA boundary to include parcels north of University Avenue to support the design consistency and align with the overall vision. This proposed extension requires a separate resolution, and that will be included in today's vote. Please note that the outcome of the boundary extension vote will directly impact the plan, the vote on the MRA plan, as the extension is incorporated into the plan. With that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Ali Caskey.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Thank you all for your time this afternoon. We're really excited to follow up on our conversation from the work session back in June, just a few weeks ago. I wanted to just share kind of a high-level, quick presentation to just again tie all those bows and explain what we're trying to do here today. I just want to start with the high-level project purpose. A metropolitan redevelopment area is a tool that allows cities to take control over the redevelopment and revitalization of their areas, these neighborhoods. Specifically in our plan, we created a framework which would help guide the decision-making and projects and policies around transforming El Paseo and South Solano into economically thriving, pedestrian-friendly community areas, with this kind of renewed focus on what sustainable development and equitable growth can look like in the future. We incorporate the 6 kind of main focus areas on the right here, thinking about how redevelopment touches all aspects from infrastructure to quality of life, public health and safety, thinking about our opportunities for businesses, economic revitalization. Underpinning this plan is a commitment to social equity that folks across the area will all benefit from the recommendations made. In that same vein, environmental sustainability, thinking about how these recommendations can support the city's larger goals, and as well as promoting historic preservation in this area and throughout the city. Next slide, please. Again, just to recap, we have been working on this project for just over a year, starting with the initial question of what do folks need in this area? To begin to answer that question, we wanted to meet folks where they were at. And so you see here, we've had a kind of a thorough community engagement process using a variety of tools and methods to be able to have people answer that question. Starting in April, we began listening sessions, meeting with different stakeholder groups, local businesses, staff, different departments, students, moving into just to build that kind of initial context for what the needs are in this area. Following that, in September, we hosted an intensive 3-day community design workshop where we worked with folks from the community and high school students as well, just students, to really begin to think about what this transformation could look like, beginning to both kind of pick areas to design and then iterate on those designs on that 3rd day. Throughout that process, we also, again, continued to meet with different groups as needed. And then kind of ongoing to be able to capture as much feedback as we could hear about this plan. We launched a community survey in which we mailed copies of the survey to every property in the MRA and a reminder. We received over 2,000 responses, which helped us again, build into these recommendations, kind of furthering refine the projects and our approaches, leading to our public draft, which has been available on the city's website this entire time. We closed comments last week, but we were able to, really interact and hear what people were thinking about the plan directly through a more engaging kind of platform. And so a variety of methods in person and online, hoping to hear from as many people as we could. Next slide. And so guiding this plan is this illustrative vision, which sees the MRA as just quite frankly a very large area. This is typically MRAs focus on one corridor, but understanding the importance and significance of not just the corridors in the area, but also the neighborhoods and services in between. We wanted to think about how redevelopment and revitalization could look in an area this large. And so here we're thinking about how El Paseo and South Solano function as corridors in this in the area, but we're also thinking about the residential areas, public spaces, and trails, as a part of kind of thinking holistically about redevelopment and revitalization. Next slide. Within the illustrative vision, we're also thinking about, yes, how to address kind of safety concerns that are prevalent within these areas, not just for students or residences, but also business owners, visitors, thinking about, again, specific projects that we can build on to kind of kickstart the redevelopment process, as well as building on the existing assets in this area, including the neighborhoods and their strong identity and character, the historic district, as well as assets that may have been unrealized, like the drainage ditches for trail connections. And so the illustrative vision is just meant to kind of guide the large-scale revitalization of this area by targeting specific pockets within that. Next slide. And so the pockets or opportunity nodes, as we describe in the plan, we've identified kind of these 4 key areas as potential places where these projects are either already ongoing or have great potential to kick off this process. And so thinking about opportunity as just that we can build on the momentum that's happening in these areas and really target specific needs within these different, again, kind of character areas to begin to kind of prioritize and identify redevelopment strategies. Next slide. And so in the plan, you'll see that our strategic recommendations are centered around these 6 different topics, wanting to address public safety, which we heard overwhelmingly as the #1 concern and barrier to this area. And so thinking holistically, again, about programming and infrastructure that could help improve senses of safety and belonging in this area. We're also thinking about housing and transportation and mobility, ways that we can, again, continue to bolster these residential areas within the community, as well as these kind of significant corridors, El Paseo and South Solano. Economic development touches on how redevelopment and revitalization can help kind of build on itself and help support and uplift community members through this process and local businesses. And then also sustainability, I mentioned kind of underpinning this is not just environmental sustainability for kind of new projects that we're integrating, but also thinking about economic and financial sustainability and how we can kind of continue to carry out this plan in a reasonable way. Next slide. And so again, to kind of help us further prioritize different activities, we identified several catalytic projects. And so these are kind of high priority, high impact programs and projects that we've identified as being able to address urgent community needs while also providing the springboard for the revitalization of this area. And so again, in the plan talks much more in depth about each of these projects. I also want to note that these projects aren't necessarily, they're not the ones that might happen the soonest, but these are projects we've identified as having the highest impact for transformation, and therefore maybe being a higher priority for the city. Next slide. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that through our conversation and public participation at the June work session, we were able to integrate a lot of what we had heard. And so just wanting to acknowledge that we have updated the plan to include code references that, again, make sure that that is in alignment with the new zoning code, Realize Las Cruces. We also added context to help guide kind of staff decision-making and policy-making beyond this process. And so we have information about best practices for vacant properties, as well as kind of safe streets, and also looking at what the city is already doing with the Real-Time Crime Center, and again, integrating that into our plan, acknowledging these as resources, and yeah, hoping to provide more information for staff. Next slide. And again, just touching on some more of the revisions, that wanting to include the public safety resources and partners that we think will help kind of provide a lot of the support needed for this plan, as well as different transit recommendations for El Paseo based on different multimodal needs. We highlighted the need for the safe indoor community spaces. I think we focused a lot on public spaces and parks, and then hearing feedback about, yeah, it's hot here. And so needing to, provide those spaces for community members, needing to meet that need, as well as other administrative recommendations. As well, in the plan, you'll also see the appendices, which include all of the community engagement, all of the comments we've heard, both on the draft plan and then synopses of our engagement thus far. Next slide.
Thank you, Ellie. So to revisit our internal timeline, and this is a very brief timeline, we are going to form the internal MRA committee by the new budget season in October. We plan to implement the safety improvement program along with other MRA incentives by September, and then pass a resolution for the GRT baseline and county property tax by January or February of next year. And here are your options. Again, Council, you will be voting on two separate items, the boundary extension and the adoption of the plan. And with that, we stand for questions.
All right, thank you, Blair. Councilor Flores.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for the presentation. Can you go back to slide 5, please? So on the community responses for the community survey, you had the 2,000 attend or the 2,000, because it says 2,000 plus, oh, I see, more than 2,000 responses, okay.
Yes.
But on the community design and listening sessions, well, the listening sessions, stakeholder meetings, were they an open forum? Was it in person? It doesn't show how many people participated.
Yes, Councilor Flores. The stakeholder meetings were in person, and we did also hold the public meetings in person as well. The community survey was collected through different avenues, including mail-out surveys. We had the survey online. We hosted a Casa de Peregrino food drive where we had locals fill out the survey as well.
And so do you have the numbers on the meetings and the responses you had to the design community workshop?
Councilor Flores, all of that is included in the plan, yes.
Okay.
And the appendices, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Councilor Matisse.
Ladies first. Thank you, Mayor. Could you give me a description of the makeup of how you're going to seek out the MRI, the committee, and that will serve?
Yes, Councilor Matisse. So the internal committee will be comprised of directors of each department or whoever they choose as department representatives, and also economic development will be running that MRA committee. We will be deciding the capacity, funding opportunities, any project prioritizations as well. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, in other words, that committee will all be internal, will be our staff.
Yes, it will be internal, and then any recommendations that the committee comes up with, they will present towards the council.
Okay, so you don't see any members of the public serving on that committee?
As of right now, no.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor McClure.
Just real quickly, we kind of spoke early last week. I just wanted to make sure that we are leveraging opportunities like with the Boys and Girls Club to make sure that we can, say, get with the county and figure out some solutions. I know anti-donation is a huge issue that we have to overcome, but it feels like the MRA could be an opportunity to get this catalytic program, specifically with Boys and Girls Club, started a little bit faster than maybe 2 years from now, maybe in the next 6 months. I just hope that we look at that and get buy-in by actually seeing things happen. I think that's kind of, y'all have kind of gotten my sentiment on that, but I just want to make sure that for the record, we have that.
Yes, Councilor McClure. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to my director, Elizabeth Teeters.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council. Elizabeth Teeters for the record. You are correct, Councilor McClure, that we want to try to assist the nonprofits, businesses, everybody within the MRA. And while the MRA does give flexibility, we still have to operate within the parameters of the MRA state statute. And it says in order to give funds to nonprofit organizations, local development corporations, or entities organized under the Federal Small Business Investment Act, we have to do it through grants. So there has to be some kind of competitive mechanism in place, in which is the MRA committee will be the one that actually comes up with all of this and comes up with the way we can give out these funds when the time comes.
Councilor Flores.
Ms. Teeters, I have a follow-up on that question. So are the MRIs, I need an MRI. Are the MRAs aware of the fact that they can seek additional funds?
Mayor, Councilor Flores. So when the time comes and we actually come up with the programming and we actually have official programming in place, like Blair said, we have $100,000 for a pilot program this year. We plan on doing a full marketing campaign to make sure they know they can apply for these funds.
Okay.
But we don't actually have programs in place at this point.
Okay. But then the prospective, like the Boys and Girls Club, I mean, would they be included, for example, would they be included in that information?
Yes, Councilor Flores, they will be included, but the $100,000 is going to be used for a safety program, safety improvement program. While we are going to be applying for the tax increment and getting tax increment funds, it's going to take a few years to actually get the ball rolling on that. So other than the $100,000, that's really the funding we have to get these programs started.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Are there any members of the public that would like to speak to this? Go ahead, come on up. I'll give you 2 minutes.
George Pearson. I've been participating in this, and it's a very good program, and looking forward to its implementation. I do have a question on some of the details. With the first resolution, you're going to increase the size of the area, but the document has the maps for the smaller. By passing the increased size, does that mean that the maps will automatically, that staff can just change those, or do you need to direct staff with an amendment to update the maps for the new area? Thank you.
I can field that. I would say that a lot of our illustrative maps don't necessarily define that barrier or the boundary, and so we might have a few maps to update with this new boundary, but a lot of the content is focused around maps that aren't necessarily defined by this boundary. The plan itself was written with the boundary extension in mind, and so we can ensure that all of the maps reflect the latest boundary. Yes.
All right, thank you. Come on up, sir.
Mayor, Council, thanks for the time. My name is Michael Harris for the record. I've seen this MRA presentation several times at several meetings now, done the surveys and everything, so I think it's pretty good. Clearly there's a lot of thought and community involvement has gone into the overall strategy. The area is a big part of the district I live in, and most of the things I would have wanted to say now and in the past are already in there, but I still have a couple comments that I think are worth emphasizing. The first is that we shouldn't lose sight of small projects. One street light, one crosswalk, restriping lanes, flex posts. These are very cheap ways to have a big impact in the area and maybe achieve some of the goals without waiting for the bigger funding. Another one is no projects, and I think this was brought up in another meeting also, but bears repeating. And too often we get tunnel vision for big funding, and we get trapped into, when we're talking about housing, especially as part of this plan, get trapped into uppercase A, affordable housing projects. And sometimes this makes us miss out on much, much more lowercase a affordable housing projects, or not necessarily a project in itself. We need abundant housing and closing the gap with different styles and options like townhomes, casitas, starter homes are more effective than maybe chasing a couple big complexes, big subsidized housing projects. Mixed income neighborhoods that have lots of options are very nice places to live. And in my neighborhood in particular, there's lots of options and everyone gets along and cares for their place. So like I said, overall, I think it's a great vision and I support the designation and want to see it leveraged to its full potential. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Seeing none, no other comments or questions, Christine?
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 26-008. Counselor McClure?
Yes.
Counselor Matisse?
Yes.
Counselor Graham is absent. Counselor Cran?
Yes.
Counselor Flores?
Yes.
Counselor Bencomo?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Now we need a motion and a second for the next one.
Move to approve.
Second.
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 26-009. Counselor McClure?
Yes.
Counselor Matisse?
Yes.
Counselor Graham is absent. Counselor Cran?
Yes.
Counselor Flores?
Yes.
Counselor Bencomo?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. All right, thank you. Next is board appointments, and there are none. Notice of proposed ordinances, none. We'll turn to city council member board reports and comments. I'll start with Councilor McClure.
Thank you, Mayor. Happy to be back. Enjoyed our trip to represent Nienburg, or Las Cruces in Nienburg. I just want to quickly say that inclusion is very important. I wonder how a lot of us got here. And to hear that people don't want that is remarkable to me. That's all.
Councilor Matisse.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to give a kudos and a recognition to Letitia Sanchez Freeman. I know Katrina and Scott have worked with her quite a lot. She's making her home in El Paso now, but she was actually a captain of a neighborhood association and very instrumental in putting meetings together for the neighborhood associations as well as Crescent Park and other associations. So she will be missed. Her leadership is important. I think with the MRAs, it's important that the neighborhood associations and the people that are concerned with the safety and the conditions of their neighborhoods should be maybe notified by the committee and at least share the progress that the committee is making with these neighborhood associations. I think Letitia will be very missed, but we have others, Nancy Hastings, and I just want to make a comment for my the work that Scott and Katrina do for the neighborhood associations is amazing. And just like we had this gentleman today coming up from Gardner, we need to contact him, and I'm sure Chief Story will put him on the list and see what's going on in that particular neighborhood. But just a word to the neighborhoods in the city of Las Cruces. If you could actually band together, get together, and watch each other, incorporate Ring in your systems and let neighbors know if there's people in those streets or neighborhoods that you feel may be suspect of bringing harm to your neighborhood. It's important to have the associations and build them. It keeps your neighborhood safe, and it also communicates with the city of Las Cruces and gets a lot of services that we could offer not only from LCPD, but the fire department, codes, and behavioral help for those that are in need in that neighborhood. Appreciate you, Letitia, and you'll be missed. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor Correa.
Thank you. I want to thank all of the staff that got together and got the East Mesa pool back up and running. I know that that was a lot of folks collaborating and joining together to get that open for people to swim back this weekend. So thank you to all of the city staff that made that happen. I also want to just thank the Animal Services Center for they really did a lot of work in the last few weeks to try to alleviate their influx of strays after the traumatic fireworks of last week. And I'm excited for a number of their really cool programs that are helping get animals out of the shelter. And I just signed up today to take. Apparently, you can take your dog to the ice cream store and/or the brewery. They recommend. Don't take it from me. Take it from them. To get them out of the shelter for a few hours. So I urge folks to consider that they're laboring under an enormous weight of animals coming in right now, and anything that you can do to support them and reducing that means a lot to the animals there. So I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Flores.
I have a question. Over the weekend, I read in the Las Cruces bulletin. No, not the bulletin. Our newspaper. At any rate, I read that the AMR contract was not renewed, and the county didn't renew it as well. And so I'm just wondering what recourse or what's the city going to do?
Council, I'm sorry, Councilor Flores. We'll be having a work session on that next week.
Oh, well, okay. But
okay, so all the
so
questions
between
will
now
be,
and next week, you'll have a solution as to what we're going to do. Great, thank you so much. You're a good politician, Mr. Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thanks, Mayor. Speaking of fire, I want to thank the fire department for having us over at the Fire Academy graduation for Academy 38. It was a very beautiful event. I really love to attend those and to just watch families and their loved ones walk that stage. And just on another note, thank you for doing it at the Rio Grande. I hope that worked out well, and hope you continue to do it there, because I thought, no shade to DACC, it's been great doing it there, but it was really wonderful to have it at the Rio Grande. And thank you, Chief Daniels, and congratulations on your first academy as fire chief. I want to remind folks that I'll continue to have some office hours after hours. I will not be holding them this Tuesday. I'm out of town, but I will hold them the following Tuesdays in July at 5 p.m., 5 to 6, right outside in the conference room right across the way here in the lobby. And a huge thank you to Scott and Katrina for helping me organize those and helping me help constituents who come by and visit. So please come by. Again, I won't be there July 8th, but I will be there July 15th, 22nd, and 29th. I think one of the things I wanted to ask regarding the MRA and the Boys and Girls Club that I think potentially can get us started, and to what Councilor McClure was saying in this big catalyst project, I'd love from our city manager's office to see if we can get some sort of report on what is expected their impact fees to be, and potentially think about waiving those, whether it's the park impact fees, utilities, public safety, whatever it is. I'm curious about how much those are amounted to be, and if there's something we can do there to support them as they continue to fundraise and build some of that out. So I'd love to know those numbers before we make those decisions. I truly have no idea. And then just the last thing I wanted to say is a little bit more on the national level. I've always really sort of loved and respected and honored that often our administration and our operations, not often, I always respect that we have a very clear focus on the operations of our city. Like that is our priority. And often I notice that we don't always get, sort of distracted, if you will, by the national politics, by the national narratives that are happening in Congress or wherever. And sometimes I think that's really important. Unfortunately, now I don't think we get to have that privilege. Last week, the so-called big, beautiful bill passed. I personally would have picked a different adjective, but the bill passed, and I think it's important for us to recognize the impact that it'll have on New Mexicans and on Las Cruces specifically. I think that that's really important, and I'm going to name some of the reasons why, but I have a specific ask around this. In the bill, it is expected that Medicaid will be cut about 12%. That amounts to perhaps 11 to 12 million Americans will lose coverage of their Medicaid coverage. These are the poorest, most vulnerable folks in our community in this country. SNAP benefits or food stamps will be significantly reduced. And again, thousands, if not millions, will lose food stamps benefits. Again, the most vulnerable in our community. And this is just some of the key pieces. There's obviously a lot of really harmful pieces in this piece of legislation, but I'm naming the ones that I think are more critical. Border enforcement and deportations, I don't know another way to say this, but they have an absurd increase. About $150 to $175 billion over several years will go to funding for ICE and increased detention. That's to round up our neighbors, Las Cruces, people who work here, live here, pray here, go to school here, pay our GRT here, those folks. And amongst many other things. For New Mexicans, that may be New Mexicans, about 100,000 New Mexicans are projected to lose Medicaid coverage, and about 60,000 New Mexicans are likely to lose their SNAP benefits. Again, these are our most vulnerable neighbors, and I think it's important that the city understand what the consequences of this legislation will be, and for our city manager, I'd really love to understand from our state and federal lobbyists what their sort of analysis is on how we should be preparing. Certainly from Larry, I think it's important we understand if there will be a special session at the legislature and how we best can be involved in that to advocate for our own residents. And for federal lobbyists, really just thinking about what this means, how to prepare, and what more is coming. Ultimately, I think this bill and the intention behind this bill, honestly, it does not care about Las Cruces. It cares about wealthy interest, and so we have to care. We have to care a lot more, and I just think it's really important that we are just acutely aware of what's going to happen and how it's going to impact our community. So that's my request for city manager's office, so that all of us know how to be better municipal leaders during this time. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Just a few things that I want to bring up. First of all, thank you to Economic Development and all the staff that helped out with the MRAs. This is truly something that's going to help revitalize our city, places that have been neglected, to bring them back up so that it'd be a thriving community. Thank you to the consultant and everybody else with the city that was involved, and our residents that partook in the surveys and the meetings. It's going to be great, so thank you. And Look forward to the continued work. Want to give a special thanks and hope that everyone had a very happy 4th of July. It was 249. Next year will be the big one, 250 years of celebration. All the planning, the organizing, the keeping us safe. So a special shout out to Parks and Rec for all their work with the light parade and then the event with the entertainment, the food, everything that took place. Thank you, Steve, and your staff, everyone that helped out. And police and fire, thank you for the safety during this time. There was a lot of people out there. Solano was lined up. There was thousands of people at NMSU, and thank you, NMSU, for the partnership and allowing us the location. It was a great event. Thank you all. Now what I want is to recognize a local hero and the book that's coming out. This is a book called Peaceful Warrior. It's a Canaan Bauer story. And his parents are in the audience here today. We'll definitely recognize them in a little bit. But for those that don't recall, in 2020, a 16-year-old wrestling champion ran into a dangerous situation as everyone was running away. Canaan Bauer stopped an active kidnapping attempt and saved a woman's life and her 3 children. Those that were close to Canaan said, "It's not surprising, it's just another day for Canaan doing the right thing and loving people." Canaan received many accolades, including a Canaan Bauer Day of Valor by the county and recognition from Carnegie Hall as a real-life hero. Dana White, CEO of the UFC, calls Canaan a superhero. A movie is currently being written, and the script is in the top 5% in a worldwide competition judged by movie producers and directors. After much encouragement from the community and beyond, the family has put in the effort to precede the upcoming movie with a book. We've opted to make this affordable and to apply proceeds towards the Canaan Legacy Scholarship to promote our youth. The author contacted Amazon, and they're going to make Kindle download free today in observance of Canaan's birthday, which is today, July 7th. Canaan is no longer with us, sadly, but Canaan would have been 22 years old today. To the parents of Canaan, Mr. and Mrs. Bauer, please stand up. We'd like to recognize you. Give them a round of applause. Thank you. Like I said, we look forward to this book when it comes out. I'm looking forward to reading it myself, and hopefully we can get that movie going and display it in our International Film Festival when it takes place and showcase that and show what a true hero your son was. Thank you. And with that, I'll turn it over to our city manager, or acting, J.C. Borrego.
Thank you, Mayor. That's a tough act to follow. J.C. Borrego, Assistant City Manager. For the record, I do have a few announcements. We'll start with our Quality of Life Department. Juneteenth event sponsored by the Las Cruces Museums, along with several partners, including NMSU, drew an estimated 700 people during the week, including events at the Brannigan Cultural Center, the Downtown Plaza, and NMSU and other venues around town. Nearly 900 people signed up for the summer reading program at the Las Cruces Public Libraries, which ends this Saturday, July 12th, at the Sage Cafe branch from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Featured presenters will be a mermaid and a youth magician. The public is loving our new exhibits for children and youth that were recently installed by our vendor at the Museum of Nature and Science, including The Journey to Pluto. A new kiosk with railroad elements was placed at the Railroad Museum as well. The Utilities Board work session is July 10th, beginning at 1 p.m. at Joint Utilities at the Joint Utilities Building off Motel Boulevard. The work session will be discussing the draft utilities master plan and the energy decarbonization transition plan. Beginning today, Monday, July 7th, applications are now open for the next LCPD Academy class. It'll be open till September 8th, 2025. Parks and Rec, we're excited to announce upcoming public events for the Young Park Master Plan, which will focus on a refresh of the park. The event schedule will begin Friday, July 18th, 2025 from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at Lynn Middle School cafeteria. And then on Saturday, July 19th, 2025 at the Las Cruces Farmers Market downtown on Main Street. Look for us near the Bank of the West, and that'll be throughout the Farmers Market. Public Works, the EV charging stations project is complete. This includes installation of a dual EV charging port at the following city locations: at the airport, at Fire Station 1, East Mesa Public Safety off Sonoma Ranch Boulevard, the Las Cruces Police Station off Picacho Avenue, the Hadley Complex, and here at City Hall. We've got a couple of awards. One, IT and the city clerk received an award for Laserfish. It's the Laserfish team. It's a national recognition as a model for onboarding by Laserfish Aspire. And the other one was Visit Las Cruces announces that Las Cruces makes CNN's America's Best Towns to Visit in 2025, ranked at number 7. High scores for blend of cultures, jaw-dropping scenery, outdoor access, and an abundance of day trips. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, JC. And yes, thank you, Visit Las Cruces. I read that article, and it was great to see that what they're doing and how they're promoting Las Cruces is truly a great reflection of our community, and we really appreciate all the work that you do. And congratulations to our city clerk and IT. Another award for our clerk. And with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved by Flores.
Second.
This is on the motion to adjourn the meeting. Councilor McClure?
Yes.
Councilor Matisse?
Yes.
Councilor Graham is absent. Councilor Coran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.